I'm Simone Oliver of SkyDain Botanicals.
And I'm Cambria Cha.
And today we're going to show you how to make Balm of Gilead facial cream. You're going to start with a nice large saucepan. And you're going to have your heat down here on a medium to medium low. You don't want to burn your oils. We're going to start by adding beeswax. Beeswax, we get this from Mountain Rose Herbs and it comes in little pieces, which is nice because beeswax also comes in a large brick, but that's pretty hard to cut. So we use these because they're easier to melt. And you'll just put those in your saucepan. And I use a little skewer as my stirrer. Make sure you get all of that in there. And you'll see when you make this cream that it's pretty important to be precise because the amount of beeswax that you put in controls the consistency of the cream. And if you have too much, it'll make your cream too hard. And if you have too little, it'll make it too runny. So it's really important to make sure you use the exact measurements. And this, you can see, is just starting to melt. And to that, we're going to add some coconut oil. This is virgin coconut oil, unrefined, and it smells amazing. You can also use this coconut oil for cooking.
So does that mean that most of your creams are made out of somewhat edible ingredients?
You could actually eat our creams. Isn't that amazing?
It's okay for like breastfeeding mothers to use for babies and things like that?
Oh, absolutely.
That's wonderful.
And you'll see this, the way that we're making this cream today is the exact same way that we make it that we sell to our customers as well. So the coconut oil and the beeswax are going to melt together. You can see they're starting to melt. And again, you don't want to have your burner too high because it can start to get the heat too high in the oil. Coconut oil has a really high tolerance for heat, but you don't want to burn the wax.
Simone, how can you tell if your wax is starting to burn? Does it change color or can you smell it?
It's a really good question. You can tell by the smell. It will actually start to smell like something's burning.
Okay.
I've also noticed too, because sometimes I will be working on my creams and then I answer the phone or something and forget about them, and you'll start to hear them kind of sizzling. And if your oils get too hot, you need to throw that oil away and start over.
Oh no, so we'll be very careful.
Yeah, because also what happens is a lot of the oils we use are unrefined and cold pressed, and once you get them up to too high of a heat, they'll go rancid a lot quicker.
So can you tell me what's so great about cold pressed oils?
Well, cold pressed oils are the least refined. Not all of our oils are cold pressed because it often depends on the type of oil you use. But like coconut oil, for instance, is they just press the pulp down, and that's the pressing. Is the first pressing you get is the oil that comes out. It's not chemically extracted from the plant or mechanically extracted. So I just feel like it's more natural, less processed. And this coconut oil is, I mean, it's truly amazing stuff. It smells so good.
It does smell good. I can smell it from here.
Can you smell that?
Yeah. The beeswax smells good too.
And you can see we're melting down and it's turning a nice golden color. And I always wait until all of the beeswax and coconut oil is melted before I add my other oils, because the other oils even have a less amount of heat tolerance. So I try to get all this melted before I add any of my other oils. And what we're working with today is Balm of Gilead, which is black cottonwood, infused grapeseed and sweet almond oils. And these have been infused for a little over 2 months with the buds of the Balm of Gilead. And you can check out one of our other videos for more information on how that works. We're also going to add some jojoba oil. And then we have our waters, which we have aloe vera, we have a chamomile hydrosol, and a calendula hydrosol.
So, Simone, what is a hydrosol?
A hydrosol is actually the water that comes out of the plant in the manufacturing of essential oil. So for instance, when they make lavender essential oil, they'll capture the oil, which is a very, very small amount of the plant material, and then there's a lot of hydrosol, which is the water.
I see.
So we're already here, one little piece of wax, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this flame down as far low as it'll go. And you can see it's just hardly even, can you even see that on there? Super
It's
low.
hardly on.
And then we're going to add all our oils. So first I'm going to add my Balm of Gilead infused grapeseed oil. And again, you want to make sure that you get everything because this recipe is pretty particular. So you don't want to leave any of the oil in the jar.
Will it change the consistency if something's off?
It very well could. Then this is our Balm of Gilead infused apricot kernel oil. Or I'm sorry, sweet almond oil. We use so many different oils here, it's hard to keep track of which ones we're using. And then this is jojoba oil, which we're only using a little bit because it's pretty strong. And but it adds wonderful creaminess and absorption to this cream.
And the herbs that you use for the infusion, were those all locally collected?
Yes, they were, actually. I think you did most of the collecting on these, didn't you?
I do recall, as a matter of fact.
And the Balm of Gilead needs to be collected in the winter when the plant has no leaves. And it's just these sticky buds.
Just the sticky buds.
Yes, you
and
got
they
familiar.
smell heavenly. I
They
remember
do.
I tracked some in on my shoes one day, and I was like, my feet smell delicious.
And so now you can see this is all melted. Does it smell Balm of Gilead-y?
Oh, yes, it does.
Isn't that nice?
It smells beautiful.
So now what we're going to do is, since all of our oils are really well blended, we are going to pour them into this jar right here. And they need to partially cool until they get a little bit semi-solid. I'll show you with some cream that we're making later. This is a different cream. But this is how solid the oils are going to get.
This is after it's done cooling.
Yes. Before we mix it with the water. And all that these facial creams are, really the difference between, some of you may want to know what the difference between a cream and a salve is.
I was going to say, this looks a little bit like a salve here.
That is basically a salve right there. And a salve is 100% oils, no waters added. Where a cream is a balance, it's a emulsion of oil and water. So here's our oils. We're just going to set them on the counter, get a little hardened, and then we'll come back with you in a little while to blend the creams together with the waters. So now we have our oils here that have been sitting for about 2 hours, and you can see that they're in a semi-solid state. They're not completely solid because of the amount of oil in them. They won't get completely solid, but they should be about this texture of a thick frosting. And what I'm going to do is just transfer this oil, hardened oil, into a larger bowl to beat it. And what we're going to do is we're going to add our waters. The cream is an emulsion of equal parts of oil to water. And the emulsifier that we're using, which is going to keep the oil and water together, is beeswax, which we used and melted down earlier. This has a really nice, strong Balm of Gilead scent, which I love. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of vitamin E. Vitamin E oil, which aids in the longevity of the cream, keeps it from spoiling as easily. Also adds vitamin E into the cream, which is very good for your skin. And the type of mixture that we use at SkyDain Botanicals is a submersion mixer. This is just Braun brand. You can get it in any kind of kitchen store. And it's very easy because you can just use a large bowl like this and it blends it up really well. We've discovered this after breaking numerous standard whoa, oh no, kitchen blenders. Oh, that's okay. So, my blender. We're first going to add our calendula hydrosol. Then we're going to add our aloe vera gel. And again, you can look on our website at SkyDainBotanicals.com for these recipes. I'm going to re-measure my calendula hydrosol here to make sure I have 1 1/3 cups, since we had a little spillage there. Alright, so we have all of our oils and waters in, and now we're just going to blend. So we're going to blend this until we have a nice creamy consistency. So you can you see this pretty closely? That it takes a little bit for the water and oil to combine. You're going to be mixing this for a good 3 or 4 minutes until all of the water is suspended and emulsified into the oil. So as I'm blending, I'm putting my intention into this cream of being a very good healing cream for people and the skin. And I'm doing that by the way that I'm mixing my intention into it in a clockwise direction. We do that for all of our creams. Can you see how it's getting thicker and thicker? But there's still the layer of water circling. So I'm bringing that intention from my heart down into my arm. And infusing that into this cream as well. So if you're making a cream for an ailment, you can visualize that person feeling better or having this cream really heal them. If it's for a specific purpose. Don't stop mixing until you get all of the water emulsified into the cream. I think we're all done. The wonderful thing about these little submersion blenders as well is that they're super easy to clean. And you don't get much waste, where in a regular blender it's hard to get the cream out of the blender. And this one's really easy. And we just stick it in the dishwasher and it cleans right up. So after we're all done blending, we're just going to spoon our cream into jars. I get these jars from a container supply store on the internet. And they're great. They're made out of recyclable plastic. And you're just going to spoon in your cream. Whatever size jar you want. This is a 4-ounce jar, which will last you a long time. This cream lasts a long time, and a little goes a long way. And you can see, put the lid on. You can either store it in the refrigerator or in your bathroom, and it should last for at least a year. If you see any signs of discoloration on the surface, that's totally normal because the oils are oxidizing. But any type of mold, because this can go bad, you wouldn't want to use that. All right, thanks for joining us today. Till next time.